This is finally working. Is it? Oh Lord. It is. Okay, finally. I do apologize for the delays. Just having a lot of technical difficulties here in the stream. So we are going to do a follow-up here on the Israel's attack of the 5 World Central Kitchen workers that occurred yesterday. And the mainstream media is not really picking this story up like it did previously. So I did some background research, in the previous attack that I had explained or had mentioned in the previous live stream actually occurred earlier this year in April. And actually 7 workers were attacked in that airstrike. It was a drone strike that attacked 3 vehicles, and the 3 vehicles were clearly marked with the World Central Kitchen logo on the top of the vehicles, so that the planes or drones could easily identify them, but they attacked them and killed them anyway. And the reason for that attack, the reason that Israel gave, well, actually, they gave several reasons. I do recall that the first reason that they gave is that before that convoy or those vehicles went out, that Israel claimed that they observed some type of terrorist activity, or some individual who they identified to be a terrorist within that group. That was the initial explanation that was given. Then later, the second explanation that was given was that they made a mistake. So, and then now for this incident, the explanation that they're giving, that the reason that they attacked this vehicle is that they identified a terrorist involved in the October 7th terrorist attack in Israel, perpetrated by Hamas, inside this vehicle. So they decided to hit this vehicle, killing all 5 members of the World Central Kitchen who were riding in it. So we're going to go ahead and play a video here from Reuters to give some more details about the incident, and then we will take a look at some articles from the few mainstream media outlets that are actually covering this story. Please like the live stream and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Okay, here we go.
The Israeli military said on Saturday it had killed a militant who took part in the October 7th Hamas attacks on Israel last year. It said he was employed in Gaza by a U.S.-based charity, World Central Kitchen. The family of the man said the Israeli allegations were false and meant to justify his unlawful killing. The military said he took part in an attack on a kibbutz in southern Israel, but did not offer any evidence. Reuters could not independently verify the details. The official Palestinian news agency Wafa reported that 3 employees of World Central Kitchen were killed when an Israeli strike targeted a vehicle in southern Gaza. Medics said 5 people were killed overall. Mohammed, who did not give his last name, said he saw 2 missiles hit a jeep as it came this way. In a social media post, World Central Kitchen confirmed the strike and said it had no knowledge of an employee involved in the October 7th attack. The charity said it was pausing operations in Gaza, adding that it was working with incomplete information and urgently seeking more details. Hamas did not immediately comment. This is not the first time Israel has attacked World Central Kitchen workers. In April, an airstrike in central Gaza killed 7 members of the organization, including American and European citizens. The Israeli military said it was the result of serious errors and breaches of procedure. It dismissed and reprimanded senior officers and commanders.
JIRA is now for all.
Okay, there it is. So that's that's the excuse that they're giving there in Israel, that they were basically trying to get a terrorist. So this is the some of the Al Jazeera, this is their coverage of this story. And see this. Difficult. Here it is. So Al Jazeera here reports that Israel kills 3 world. I think this was one of the early stories. So I believe that the account, really the total is really 5. But when they wrote the story up, it was 3 aid workers were killed. So this is elite. The Israeli military has killed 3 workers with the World Central Kitchen. Let's see here. Are we actually seeing this? Yeah, good. And at least 2 other people in an airstrike on a vehicle. So when they, at the time of the reporting here, is that they had 3 because they could only confirm at least 2 other people were in the vehicle besides the alleged terrorist. In Khan Yunis, southern Gaza, what was the 3rd deadly attack on the aid group this year? So apparently, this is actually jogging my memory. There, before the previous attack in April, they did report World Central Kitchen that someone took fired a bullet into one of their vehicles, hitting the rear view mirror of one of the vehicles, or the side mirror, I believe. And they had reported it to the IDF that had occurred. Now I'm going to get to why I think that some possible theories as to why Israel did this. Besides the official narrative that they're giving, that they're trying to capture. They were trying to get a terrorist. So the U.S.-based charity, which runs community kitchens in Gaza, said it had paused its operations in Gaza after the attack on Saturday. We are heartbroken to share that a vehicle carrying World Central Kitchen colleagues was hit by an Israeli airstrike in Gaza. At this time, we are working with incomplete information and are urgently seeking more details. So the Israeli military here claimed that it was targeting a terrorist who had participated in the October 7th attacks on Israel and was employed by the WCK. And they go on to say the terrorist had been under intelligence surveillance for a long time and was targeted based on reliable intelligence information about his location in real time. Arabic language spokesperson Avikai Adre said in a post on X. However, the WCK said it had no knowledge that any individual in the vehicle had alleged ties to the October 7th Hamas attack. Now, again, and with the mainstream media, it's not, and even this Al Jazeera, what they're not even pointing out, there's just the obvious that even if what Israel says is true, this is still completely unacceptable. It's a war crime. Because through Israel's actions indicates that they are willing to put innocent lives at risk just to get one terrorist. So they are willing to kill at least 4 people to eliminate one terrorist. Okay, and there's no evidence that's being presented to us that this terrorist was in the middle of committing some type of terrorist attack at that moment. So that they haven't shown that the alleged terrorist, posed a threat to the people in the vehicle or people outside the vehicle, or posed a threat to Israeli soldiers. Because if that were the case, then they could be justified in doing something like that. If the actual terrorist posed a threat, but if he didn't pose a threat, then this is completely unacceptable. It's just like the example that I gave previously in a previous live stream, where I said that if a local police agency was pursuing a serial killer, and through their intelligence they found that the serial killer was in a vehicle where 4 other occupants were inside that vehicle, and then they decided to drone that vehicle, what do you think the reaction would be in that city. Of course, any reasonable person would be outraged that the police department would be willing to put the lives of other people in that vehicle, occupant, other innocent people, at risk just to get one serial killer. So it would be completely unacceptable. Unacceptable. We don't expect our law enforcement to behave in that. Our law enforcement here in this country does crazy things, but not at this to this degree here. So it's surprising that a lot of these outlets that they're not really even pointing that out. And let's see here. So this is where the Palestinian Civil Defense spokesperson, they said that at least 5 dead were transported to hospitals, including the 3 employees of World Central Kitchen following the attack. Okay, so apparently the 3 men worked in WCK, and then there were 2 others, I guess, who did not work with WCK. All 3 men worked for WCK, and they were hit while driving in a WCK 4-wheel drive vehicle in Khan Yunis, Bazo said, adding that the vehicle had been, quote, marked with its logo clearly visible. And this was a point that they made previously in April when they first attacked 3 different vehicles on 3 separate occasions, and killing 7 of the WCK workers. The Israeli army did not mention the other victims of the attack or its effect on getting food to the starving population of Gaza, who rely on the Washington-based charities services. Al Jazeera's Hind Kudurai, reporting from Deir el-Balah in central Gaza, said the attack would have grave implications for the provision of aid in Gaza. So it's beyond attacking Palestinians, Palestinian workers, aid organizations. It's attacking all sources of aid and all sources of community kitchens and those who have been working tirelessly to prevent starvation in Gaza, she said. And here's an image here, a man holding a cap next to the vehicle in which the WCK employees were killed. There. So there it is. So that's one of the vehicles here. One of the articles here mentioned regarding this incident. So I wanted to take a look at another article. And this is from NPR. The World Central Kitchen workers killed by Israeli airstrike. And so in this article, it states an Israeli airstrike hit a car in the Gaza Strip on Saturday, killing 5 people, including at least 3 workers with the charity, World Central Kitchen. And then, so it gives the same reason here. And the same denial from the aid organization. So the U.S.-based organization, founded by celebrity chef Jose Andres and his wife Patricia in 2010, delivers food to people on the front lines of natural and humanitarian disasters. In April, the charity paused its aid work in Gaza after 7 of its workers were killed by an Israeli strike. And actually, there were 3 different strikes. It was 3 different vehicles. The organization returned to the region to resume operations a few weeks later. Israel said the strike targeting the aid workers was a mistake. That was one of the reasons that they gave, but I do recall originally the first reason that they gave was that there was a terrorist somewhere. When at the beginning of this trip, when these workers got on these vehicles, and so on, and it just gives a little bit of more background on what's been going on. So. And then the other article here is also on by Al Jazeera. Actually, it's not even on that incident. So there's really not a lot here on this. And there's other news, too, that UNRWA is also pausing their aid because their convoys have been attacked by gangs of looters. And that have been also reported recently in this attack. So what could have possessed the Israel to attack the World Central Kitchen workers. Well, there's some possibilities. So I decided to go ahead and look at the Twitter, it used to be called Twitter, but now X account by Chef Andres. And this is what I found. This is a Chef Andres' Twitter account, X account actually. And here it is. So this is the initial tweet here. He reposted the announcement made by the World Central Kitchen announcing that their workers have been killed. So this was tweeted yesterday, and Chef Jose Andres retweeted it. But now they call it reposted it. But what I found here that was interesting is this. The day before that, Chef Andres actually reposted this post by this organization called Eye on Palestine. And those of you who follow social media will recognize this group. This is a pro-Palestine group that puts out videos on social media regarding the situation in Palestine. And they tend to be more pro-Palestine, as you can see from the content that they're putting out here. So they focus more on the civilian casualties, and their worldview, their viewpoint tends to be more sympathetic to the Palestinian people. Well, Chef Andres actually reposted this post here, where it said, "Our Palestinian colleagues are not here today because the system we are currently exist in doesn't recognize the value of Palestinian life." Dr. Tanya Al-Haj breaks down during a UN session as she shares testimonies from Gaza detailing the dire healthcare crisis. Over 1,000 healthcare workers have been killed. Hundreds are in Israeli captivity, and at least 4 have died while detained, their bodies still held by Israel. So this is the video that he put out, and it's that looks like the Al Jazeera logo. So let's see if we can listen in.
Barbaric war crimes. It is met with impotence by individuals.
If there are any captions.
Our Palestinian colleagues are not here today because the systems we currently exist in don't recognize the value of Palestinian life. Our Palestinian colleagues are not here today because the systems we currently exist in don't recognize the value of Palestinian life. We spent the last 14 months watching as the most live-streamed and documented genocide in history has been met with silence, widespread propaganda campaigns justifying the unjustifiable, silencing and discrediting those who have attempted to expose it. The eyewitnesses that have made it out alive consistently reported crimes that in any other context would have led to sanctions. But here, after 14 months of the most grave breaches of humanitarian law, gross violations of human rights, barbaric war crimes, it is met with impotence by individuals, countries, and the very institution represented by this building.
I think she's talking about the UN. One day someone will dig up the records or testimonies.
One day, someone will dig up the records of our testimonies.
So this is definitely very critical of Israel. So could it be that somebody within the IDF saw or is monitoring Chef Andres' post and saw that he posted this and decided that on the following day that they would send the chef a message? Could be. So I think we have to keep the possibility open. During the attack in April, where the 7 World Central Kitchen employees were killed, I noticed, I went on his X account. I think back then it was Twitter. I think this was right before or during the time when Elon Musk was finalizing the sale with Twitter and X. I might be wrong. But I noticed that he had been tweeting content that was that seem to be critical of Israel. And I'll try to pull out the tweets if I can go back to his history here on this account. So I saw that he had done the same thing, and and then he was interviewed also on one of the networks. I believe it was PBS, but I'm not sure. But he even has surmised that was the reason that his 7 employees were killed back then, was it because of something he put out there on social media? So even he had been surmising whether his being a little bit outspoken on this topic, whether that could have been the reason. So what do you think is the reason that Israel decided to kill these 5 people? Is it really because we're targeting a terrorist, or do you think there's some other reason or an other cause at play here? Let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching the live stream. And again, I do apologize about the previous 3 streams. The sharing the screen here, the option here was not working. There was some type of glitch on the system, so I had to log the entire computer off and then log back in, and then the bug disappeared. I was able to share the screen, so that's why we were experiencing problems. There was nothing I could do to control that. So I'll try to see if I can find another software or another app that's a better option. I've seen a couple, but of course you have to pay, and I don't really want to spend money on stuff that I don't know if it's going to work or not. But this one here is free, so this probably is the reason why it's experiencing these problems. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like the live stream and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.